Hi guys, it's Nasir. Um, I have brought you another book that I've just finished. It's very wonderful book that is very much attached to the realities of Muslim society, and it's called Bread Alone for Bread Alone by Mohamed Choukri. Um, this is the book that when I initially read a few of its pages, I felt the hunger because the writer was starving during his childhood. His father was a brutal man who killed his brother Abdul Qadir, and his mother was a vegetable vendor. And this uh, writer is described by, rather, this book is described by Tennessee Williams, who is very much a famous priest of America. He has written telling a true document of human desperation, shattering in its impact, and so is very much the case here. And what I really understand from this book is that the writer has gone so much minutely in its own intricacies that sometimes it becomes a gibberish, and there is a lot of fluff around, so you don't really get to the really bottom of the story. Story goes from prostitution to you know drunkardness to hashish and all of that. But what is very much centered around is the writer is working towards making understand the society that he's living in, the dichotomies that he has been living in. And I think it's very much honest account. There's no denying it. And I'm going to read some of the passages that I have marked, which is my usual habit. The very much marked sentence that I have underscored is, without my imagination, I should have exploded. This is very much attractive for me. So, initially, on its first chapter, on its first page, the writer has described, surrounded by the elder boys of neighborhood, I stand crying. My uncle is dead. Some of them are crying too. I know that there is not same kind of crying when as when I hurt myself or plaything is snatched from me. Later on, I began to see many of people cried. That was the time of the great exodus from the rift. There had been no rain, as a result, there was nothing to eat. One afternoon, I could not stop crying. I was hungry. I sucked my fingers so much that the idea of doing it again made me sick to my stomach. My mother kept telling me, be quiet. Tomorrow we are leaving for Tichgar. There is all bread for you you want. You won't be crying for bread anymore. Once we get to Tichgar, my little brother Abdul Qadir was too sick to cry as I did. Look at your little brother, she told me. How he is. Why can't you be like him? I stared at his pallid face and sunken eyes and stopped crying. But after a few moments, I forgot to be inspired by by his silence, and began once again crying. My father um, came in. I was sobbing, and repeating the word bread over and over. Bread, 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 bread. Then he then he began to kick me and crying, shut up, shut up. If you are hungry, eat your mother's heart. I felt myself lifted into air and went on kicking me until his leg was tired. We were making Um, Later on, in the later stage, the writer has written, Mohamed Choukri has written, uh, actually his brother was killed by his own father. There was, yeah, I'm going to read this. This is very much a reality that was, hidden away from the society and neighborhood and all. I thought how I thought of how my father had twisted Abdul Qadir's neck. I wanted to cry out, "He killed him! Yes, he killed him! I saw him kill him. He didn't. He did it. I. He killed him. I saw him. He twisted his neck around. The blood ran out of his mouth. I saw. I saw it. I saw kill him." To ease the unbearable hatred I felt for my father, I began to cry. Then I was afraid he was going to kill me too. He began to scold me in a low voice loaded with malice. "Stop that. You cried enough at home." "Yes," said the old man, "stop crying. Your brother is with Allah, with angels." So, I mean, despite this brute father he owned, he had to struggle and understand society, and he shifted towards other cities, and he used to do the menial work, as sometimes as a porter, sometimes as a you know maid man, like he used to work at home of people. So this is, you know the story of his life in Morocco, because this writer is from Morocco, and this book has been translated by Paul Bowles, who's also one of the famous writers. And for overall, the experience of reading for Bread Alone in a week of time, because I used to attend office as well, so this is how the book finishes. But I could devour this book in a day. This is very engaging book. Well, last lines before I finish up this review. I would recommend this book to understand the really dichotomies of a Muslim society. This is what I gather that this particular book has been banned in some of the Muslim countries, especially in Egypt, and a professor fought for its, you know, republishing and lifting the ban of this book. And uh, of course, since this account is so honest and in the face, and it's not, you know nothing is thrown under the carpet, everything is, popped open, and then, try to, you know make it available to society what it is. So it's the writer has not pulled back his punches. So he has even stripped naked himself before the society, and you know his experiments with the drugs, and his experiment in the prostitutions and all. This is very, very much private and personal, but he has unraveled it. He has um, kind of cracked it open. So that's again uncalled for and unasked for. Well, my review, which I just write a small review at the end of, I finish every chapter. Sorry, every book. I was completely gripped by this book initially due to the fact that Mr. Chori was living in a great poverty, deprived of food and little luxuries of life. He was eventually thrusted into prostitution, wine and dine, lived in graveyard. However, this book is an honest account of his life. So, living in a graveyard, and I mean, I'm repeating a lot of sentences, but sometimes I failed this book. This book is a living thing which, keeps crying on its every page. and screaming at the society. So, what he did a marvelous job to unravel what we always hide. Thank you. We'll come up with the next review of any book. Thank you very much.